Oh, not in, out. I want to go out. Zoom out. I think this is good enough. Alright. So I'm back in my YouTube rant era. Didn't think we'd get here, but, you know, we know how I love to make these videos, and seeing as now we have this absolute mess of a video on the internet, I just couldn't help but chip in, okay? It's just who I am, okay? Now, I've known about Colleen and Miranda Sings. You know, I've been on YouTube for 10 years, I know who she is. She was kind of lumped in with sort of the brick crew of like the peak era of YouTube, because she was friends with like people like Tyler Oakley and Joey Graceffa and like that kind of crew, so you know, I knew of her, I'd seen a few of her videos, and especially when she divorced her ex-husband. Don't know how many years ago that was now, but I remember that being kind of like a mess on the internet, so she's a figure that I've known on YouTube, and most prominently back in like, what was it, 2018, 2019, she played Dawn in Waitress on Broadway. Now I'm a big musical theatre fan, so, and for someone who's obviously known of her existence and knows she was a singer and, you know, that whole thing, I was like, oh, that makes sense. She's known for comedy, like, and so to do a caster of Dawn, who's like the more sort of light-hearted comedic character out of the three sort of leads in Waitress, I thought, that makes sense, good star casting, let's go. And then obviously the drama started, and obviously this has changed the perspective a little bit. The first sort of 2020 scandal, I didn't really, like, it passed over my head, I think, as it did for a few people. Like, when it's been brought up the past 3 weeks, I'm like, oh yeah, that happened, didn't it? I forgot about that. So it's been weird to have it kind of all dragged up again, and even kind of more than it was originally, and it's like, oh, yeah, Colleen, we're side-eyeing you very hard now. But I think originally not a lot of people believed Adam McIntyre, and his, as I'm going to say in this video, he's talked about in his videos, it's been an orchestrated sort of band of hate that he's had to endure over the past 3 years because of her apology video that she made in 2020, where she basically denied everything, and spoiler alert, she's done the exact same thing this time. But as I say, we'll get into this, because now obviously everyone is banding behind the victims, not just Adam, but many other people who've come out now. But we were all waiting for her to make her response, to make her apology video, like apology video Mark II, you know? And as of yesterday, we finally have that. But we don't have an apology. What we have is what I can only say is the bad apology to end all bad apologies. Like, forget Laura Lee fake crying, forget James Charles fake crying or saying that he was desperate, forget everything you've ever seen. This ends all bad apologies. Nobody in the future history of YouTube going forward is going to top this, I can guarantee, okay? The other person who can ever top this is Colleen, I think. She could do worse than herself, okay? This is... she's perfectly capable of that, let's be real here. You know, the girl really just went completely against her team's advice and was like, I'm just gonna make, like, the cringiest song ever, and she was riffing so many times. I'm laughing because it was cringe and it was so ridiculous. As I say, it wasn't even an apology. She made this entire really cringy song and riffed, gaslighting and belittling the victims and taking absolutely no accountability whatsoever, despite the fact, you know, despite how many times she claimed that she was taking accountability, she was taking no accountability. No accountability was held or taken or whatever at any point. None, right? None. Absolutely none. As I say, all she did was deny everything and gaslight the victims because we're all on the toxic gossip train. No, absolutely just... If I have to hear that phrase one more time, I swear to God I'm going to jump off a cliff. It is stuck in my head now, the amount of times I've watched this, either in other people's videos, it's just... it's stuck in my head now, and I hate it. I hate it. But this is why I love YouTube as well, just as like a side note, because YouTube truly is a platform that just is an exhibition for the human experience. Like, if you want to find every type of human imaginable, just go to YouTube, okay? You have everything from the most wholesome, good-hearted, brilliant creators to literal child groomers, like literal sociopaths, narcissists, manipulators, and literal child groomers. Like, it's all here on this wonderful platform. Aren't we so proud to be part of this? Yeah. So my thoughts on the whole thing, and I've watched a few other people's videos that I'm going to talk about as well and react to kind of their reactions and discuss that a little bit, but really, and she says this actually in the song, this changes nothing. Okay, this doesn't change anyone's opinion. This is not, because it's like she didn't take any accountability. She is truly a manipulative, creepy, and just downright horrible, evil person. And despite, you know, she was like, I made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. That doesn't make them a horrible person. Honey, there's a big difference between someone who made mistakes and child groomers. There's a bit like they're over here, opposite ends of the spectrum, okay? And I'm gonna bring this point up quite a few times because it keeps coming up. It needs to be hammered home for some people. It's like, she groomed children. This is not regular stuff. This isn't regular YouTube mistakes. This goes way further than that. Way further than that. Like, it really annoys me, that part where she's like, I just wanted to be like besties with everybody, and I'm like the weird aunt at the party, like the social gatherings, trying to be all down with the kids. Like, no. That's not what happened. That's not what you did, okay? And to be honest, like, the facial expressions, just the look she had throughout the whole silly ukulele song, honestly, like, they were just, the mocking facial expressions honestly just proves how narcissistic and twisted she is. Like, and the fact she made a song about it in the first place, like, couldn't have just done the regular thing and just sit there and cry. No. She had to get a ukulele out and sing about Toxic Gossip Train. Just, no. Like, textbook narcissist. Like, who does that? She does, apparently. And all the weird sort of genuine moments where she admitted to doing, like, weird things, it just wasn't genuine at all. Because again, this goes way beyond, like, the kind of things she was doing in the group chats, and that poor girl on stage at her live show goes way beyond just being, like, the weird aunt at the family gathering. Oh, by the way, talking about the girl at the show, yeah, you didn't make a fart joke. No. That was exposing and using a 16-year-old girl's body for entertainment, to the point where she literally felt threatened leaving the venue because men were looking at her in a predatory way, like they hadn't done beforehand. Wasn't a fart joke on. Again, this goes way deeper. She's like simmering on the surface of the iceberg where the massive underneath of you are literally a child groomer, you've done all these terrible things. And she's just trying to play it off like, oh, Toxic Gossip Train, I just made mistakes, look at me guys, I'm a normal YouTuber who makes mistakes. No, this goes way beyond that. So yeah, overall, this thing just doesn't change anything, and if anything, it just exposes just how much of a narcissist and a twisted human being she really is. Like, the images in my head of just her with that ukulele, it just speechless. Honestly speechless of how the heck she thought that was appropriate. She's delusional. It's ridiculous. Now, the videos I've watched of other people reacting to this are Adam McIntyre, Cinnamon Toast Ken, T-Spill, Brett Cooper from the comment section, and Rich Lux. Adam's video is the best one. I'm going to leave that one to the end. I agree probably the most with T-Spill's video. She did a very good job. She basically just said what I said, in that she's a horrible person and she's denying everything despite the fact there are receipts, and just she said what I said, pretty much. Ken, I mean, I don't really know the name of the guy he reacts to stuff with, except for when it's Felix, but when they were reacting to it, they stopped it around the time that she was like, oh, there should have been some boundaries, like, in the group chats, like, when I was talking to fans. And he started talking about how he met his wife on Facebook, through his community. I think she'd messaged him like on his birthday or something, and they were just talking through there. They ended up getting married and having 4 kids, and now they're in Australia, but we know. And he was talking about kind of the parasocial relationships, like the power dynamic that is sometimes brought up between YouTubers and their fans. But he was talking about like this situation happening like back in the day, like they've been married for 10 years, like this was like 10, 11 years ago, which is very different to what we're like now. The events we're talking about now are as recent as 2020. I mean, in Adam's video, he said she literally left one of the group chats like literally last week. So, very different thing here. And also, and I think someone left a comment on Ken's video actually saying this that I agree with, so I'm going to bring it up. But with Ken's situation, it was an adult talking to an adult, like it was an adult talking to an adult fan. Whereas with Colleen, it's literally 30-year-old talking to 13-year-olds, like adult talking to children, not paying children inappropriate things with children again. So there's a massive difference here. So everyone talking about like, oh, you know, the power dynamic, and yes, there is a power dynamic, and you know, it has to be very careful with the power dynamic between YouTuber and fan. Very different thing here. What we're talking about, again, goes way deeper than the surface with what Colleen did, and has been doing as recent as 2020, you know, so it's, I don't really agree with the whole, we need to be careful of that, you know, like, there is a power dynamic and, like, the boundaries do need to be set. It's like, yeah, but you shouldn't be talking to kids like that anyway in the first place, regardless of what the relationship is, parasocial, whatever, power dynamic, this is kids we're talking about here. Adult and kids. Not adult and adult. Like, if you're talking to an adult, obviously, yes, there are still going to be the boundaries in place, but when it comes to kids, completely different thing. Completely different. So, I didn't really agree with that point. I get what he was trying to say, and the rest of the video I completely agree with, where they were basically just making fun of it, like, she's belittling, she's not saying anything, she's not taking any accountability, denying the whole thing, you know, like everyone's been saying. That's a theme kind of throughout all the videos that I watched, thank God. Oh, and also I should bring up, she's been deleting comments on her video, heavily censoring the comment section, which, again, just emphasizes what I was saying, narcissist, and denying everything, and just, yeah, no. Rich Lux's video, interestingly, he shared a TikTok about, I think it's Davos, is a thing, which it's an acronym for how abusers and groomers avoid taking accountability, and it hit every point. Like, I urge you to go find that TikTok or something, or go watch Rich Lux's video, because honestly, when you compare that to her video, it's like, oh, yeah, exactly. This matches up perfectly. So that's kind of the main thing I took from Rich Lux's video. He was I mean, you know, if you watch Rich Lux, you know the kind of style his videos are, in that he kind of just leaves it up to the fans. Like, he reports the news, says a little bit of what he wants to say, and then leaves it up to the fans, and then talks about a makeup palette or something for 10 minutes. But that was the main interesting thing that I found from his video, was the acronym from that TikTok that he put in his video. Because, as I say, it matched up perfectly, and if anyone, you know, has any doubts about whether she's a predator or not, just compare all the receipts and then that acronym to her video, and it makes perfect sense. Brett Cooper, she was kind of pointing out the genuine moments in the video, like where she stopped playing the ukulele and she was like trying to be genuine about it, and like kind of be heart-to-heart with the camera. No, hun, but then also said like, yeah, but we'd believe her if she wasn't singing. No, we wouldn't believe her even if she wasn't singing. Brett, okay? The whole thing is cringe. This goes beyond just weird. This is grooming. I don't think Brett, to be honest, really understands the severity of the situation. She probably didn't do that much research, I'm not gonna lie. Her team probably did, but again, she probably doesn't really know what's going on. She's probably just looking at it from very much an outside perspective. So yeah, when Colleen was like, yeah, I did some weird things, to her it's probably going to seem like, oh yeah, that's her being genuine. No. Again, you can see it in her eyes. Look at the dead look in her eyes. Just no soul in there. Like when she stops looking at the camera, there's just no soul. no soul. Soul completely drained. That was the main issue I found with her video, was that it was like, oh, she's trying to think that she's actually being genuine when really it's manipulation. But again, she might not, she doesn't really fully understand the situation, I don't suppose. So yeah, but the genuine moments, again, just so we're all aware, wasn't genuine, it was manipulation, because it was surrounded by all this gaslighting and the belittling and all the toxic gossip train you know, so it was not genuine. Do not be fooled, please. I beg, dear God. And finally, Adam McIntyre's absolute masterpiece. I mean, this man, this guy really took the opportunity and made something truly beautiful. He responded with a ukulele and just hit every single nail on the head, and it was just absolutely faultless. And he just perfectly exposed how ridiculous and lie-filled Colleen's video actually was, and just further demonstrated how delusional and manipulative she really was. Because again, where was the accountability taken? We're still waiting. Where was the gaps? Show us the gaps, Colleen. Show us the gaps, you know? The gaps in the rumours. Look, gaps in rumours look like facts if you don't take the gaps, or whatever the lyric was. The lyric. The fact we have to say that. It's like, what was that lyric of that song again that was supposed to be an apology video? Oh yeah, now I remember. The fact that it was literally that blows my mind. It was truly a beautiful thing, what Adam did, and I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of like the 23-minute video. It was honestly, it was a great time. It was a great time. Respectfully, it was a great time. It just absolutely gorgeous. Couldn't have done it better myself. Now, to conclude this little video, you know, I'm sure, because this is YouTube and this is just one of many scandals we've had with many creators, and I'm sure there will be more like this in the future, because as I say, YouTube is a place where we see the full diversity of the human race, all the different types of people, including the horrible ones, you know, so I'm sure there will be more scandals like this, probably from James Charles, next one, who's going to probably be repeating his behaviour, probably still is, as we speak, you know. Some people never change, like Colleen and James Charles. Weren't they friends at one point? I feel like they were. Coincidence? I think not. Anyway, but yeah, the point I really wanted to make here is that, you know, and this is like the part where I get serious, and I'm not just laughing at how ridiculous this whole thing is. Well, how ridiculous she is, how serious this situation is, you know. We can't just let this slide. Things like this, as I say, this is not just somebody making a mistake. This is child grooming. This is literally child grooming, what she's been doing for years. As I say, up to 2020, up to last week apparently, when she left that group chat. But literally, stuff like this can't go unheard. Just because she's a female, and we don't hear of that many females being paedophiles, being child groomers, you know, it does tend to be males. So I feel like we are viewing this with a different eye. We shouldn't be. Spoiler alert. But as I say, I think that's why, because she's female, and so we're not really used to this, and we're not really treating it quite with the same logic. But we can't just let this slide, you know. There needs to be some sort of action outside internet cancellation. Same with James Charles, since I brought him up so many times now. But when YouTube exposes just like a terrible type of human, the Federation should be using that, okay? Like, American police, do your job, please. You know, the receipts are there. You can trial through all the videos of everyone calling her out and speaking their truth, you know. The evidence is all there. Like, the fact she wants to deny it exists, you know, that's just her being a narcissist and being a groomer and denying, you know, that the acronym that I talked about in Rich's video. But, you know, American police, do your job. This is truly just something, as I say, that needs to go beyond the internet. And I truly hope that Netflix take her show off, or at least take it off the kids section, because Adam said that it was on the kids section. Despite the fact her YouTube videos aren't on the kids app, her Netflix show is on the kids section of Netflix. Do something about that, Netflix, please, I beg. But yeah. Fuck her, am I right?